Okay, welcome back. This is session 4 of our attempt to get XLnt GUI running in PlayBASIC. So, slide the source code up for what we had this afternoon and give it a go. So I'll just run this. So we've got one window is up and running, but the second window is not being displayed. Well, it hasn't been rendered. So what I mean by that is it hasn't been drawn correctly. So I think I know what the problem with that is. That's our render loop. So we've got the setup code basically sort of working a bit, a GUI, a port of the create window function and the open window function, and the GUI polling mechanism. Beyond that, not much else. GUI window -1. Okay. So I'll go to the open window and see if we are got a function that pushes the window to the front. We haven't got anything there to do that. See that? Set the current window as active, but we haven't got any solution to run through and do that work. So we might need to drop that in now, actually. Before we dropped in some code. We replaced the list mechanism with a typed array, and that seems like a workable solution. Just got to find that function we wrote before. It's at the top here somewhere, isn't it? Where's it gone? Where's it gone? There's the mechanism. Right. Of course, now I have no idea what function I'm looking at. Win front. So what's this doing? So all the windows there, it's running through and adding. It's increasing their Z by 1. So we'll run through the list of windows, which is just in a typed array, and we'll bump Z by 1. You can just go here, ++, and that does the same thing. I don't think that's our problem, but it's good to have at least something that emulates what, sorry, that should be win list there. Something that is an emulation of what the library is doing. No, so that's not what the problem is, but which is good. Now we go back to the open window function and check out the next function. So draw window, I think that might not be drawing to the right image. This thing here we go set buffer, image buffer. What do you reckon that's doing? Image buffer, handle of image. So it's just returning the current index back to it. Fair enough. Set buffer, what's that doing? If this buffer is lower than that, render to image. That feels like it should work. Seeing a lot of properties up there initially. I think this is for when windows have a background. GUI button box. Okay. I don't know what the grid function is meant to do, but all of that seems to be okay. just okay. So if WinImage is not 0, we're freeing the image. We don't need to reset it because that's already done there. Just check what we're creating here. We're making a new image based on the width and height, that's all fine. So we'll just have a break in here. I just want to check that we're getting what we think we're getting. Image. I'll just have, this is GUI OpenWin. It's the start of it. Right in debug mode. This is always the difficult part, working out what's working and what's not working. Okay, so GUI OpenWin 7, which means it's image 7. That's the pointer to the image 8, yeah. Cool. HTML zones. There should be a thing called win list in there somewhere. Menus. Oh, sorry, it's at the bottom. Alright, so Win2 has a status, an ID of 1, an ID of 0, which I wonder if that's allowable. I don't know. Has a status of 2. It's image 7. It's draggable. Has test window as a title. Alright. Let's just check if that's actually what we think it is. We'll make this higher. Now I think that's our window. I'm pretty sure it's our window. But you never know sometimes. Yes, good. We're not seeing things. We are actually looking at the right thing. Alrighty. Open window. We go to GUI. Let's have a look. Got a function called draw all. Checking if the mouse is down, does some processing stuff. Draw all. Find declaration. We're rendering to the screen to do this. Draw image false. Correct image for us. Our status is greater than that. Whatever these magic numbers are. Don't know. I have no idea. I think it's just not rendering correctly to those images when it's actually drawn. So the problem is more in the refresh. It's probably about the buffer locking stuff. Lock buffer, unlock buffer, which don't do anything actually. It is weird that sometimes it's necessary to seed a point and we can sort of miss that. Right in debug mode. So we're not rendering to it at all. Open window. What if we don't open the window? Right. If we don't open it, it's not actually created. So we have to do that. This creates the actual surface the window uses for display purposes. If window is 0, then exit the function because we're going to do something terrible. Free it. Win front. Draw window. Find declaration. Now we are changing the surface there, aren't we? What I might do is I might just have some preservation code there as well. Old surface, get surface. At the end of the function, we'll just reset it. Render to image, old surface. If I can spell it correctly, that'd be nice. GUI color, okay. I'm assuming those colors are correct. I don't really know. So I've got kind of a palette you can oh, sorry, no we don't. GUI color, C equals C by 7. Color is that. Right. Doing a rect x minus 1 plus 2, comma 1, so doing a rectangle or a line. Right, that was the problem. So it wasn't rendering, setting up the surface correctly to render to the next batch of images. So it's probably rendering to the wrong surface in the background. That's my story, I'm sticking to it. Yeah, okay. We'll just double check that. I'm a bit suspect about that actually. If I just don't reset the surface, see how we go. Yeah, it's just rendering to the wrong surface. So it's a bit of a bummer. I mean, this code does a lot of stuff, as you can tell, and most of it I don't really know what's going on. Window button is rendering a button, I would say. Different styles for this button. Fixed me GUI button, which must be something else. Oh, hang on. Is that GUI definite? Sorry, define window. GUI default window. Maybe that's what that is getting at. So maybe we can pass it. Maybe that when you start the GUI in the setup function internally here, it creates a surface. It creates a window up front. Where are we? Here, this. So maybe this is like the default window, which it then uses in other parts of the code. At the moment, that's not even linked in, so it's like a secondary surface that's created and nothing ever occurs to it. Yeah, that's what it's doing there. So we're remembering this pointer. This is declared as global, so it must refer to this occasionally when it needs to reuse components. I have no idea. Seriously, I have no idea. Just assuming that's the case. I remember thinking it was kind of odd that it created a window inside the setup, but that was not visible. Anyway, who cares? We'll worry about that when it comes time to it. So first things first. So if we've got this thing running, or something of it running anyway, do that. Do a print of my window down the bottom there so I can see something debug wise. What we need to have now is at least try and catch these event stuff here. So when the mouse clicks on the window, is hovering over a window, etc., if we can just get the even that to work, that would give us indication that our loop, in other words, we can catch input from the user, we can create a window in this case, or create a surface, as well as catching, collecting input from the user and then acting upon it. Once we can do that, we've kind of got, I won't say we've got most of the work done, we haven't really. There's lots of functions in this thing that create all different types of controls or gadgets. But it should be easier to get those to work once we've got the basic building blocks of this thing running. But don't quote me on that because I have no idea. Just saying. Alrighty, so in GUI, what functions do we have in there that we haven't actually not doing? There we go. Get GUI event. So we need to have this thing here done. We've got a save option for saving the screen. Gadget hit. Now, hopefully there's no gadgets on the window. I've got a key pause there for some reason for debug mode. I wonder if that's even meant to be there. If GUI is debug mode, that could be a constant. We could select that code, be included or removed anytime we feel like, but I think our best port of call is to get the GUI event, and we haven't got this function at all, so let's go look it up. XLnt GUI, okay, so we're looking for, do a search, thanks, find this thing, GUI event. Oh, it's a wrapper of other functions, so we'll drag it across. I hope those aren't meant to be of use, but we'll find out, won't we? Rendering, render all, max. I'll just chuck the event stuff down here. Sorry, I'll chuck it at the top there. Get win event. Get active window. So if active window is not null, we check for gadget events. At the moment we can't do that because we have no such function that does that at all. Get event calls get win event, of course it's a wrapper of something else, and it checks the get event thing, which we haven't got yet, so we'll ignore that for a second. Back into here, thanks, and let's find the next one. Yeah, this is more like what I was thinking it was going to be. A big load of logic that does a heap of stuff. When I was thinking, yeah, jeez, okay. I'm a bit terrified by that. Let's just have a look and see what we get. to massive function. Now clearly that's not going to work straight away, and it's going to require some canoodling to get this to work. So we'll put this here, fix me. We'll drop the function in here. Okay, so this is the current window that we're over. We're searching through, looking for something that we're overlapping that has a Z value less than something. I can imagine what that's doing. It's running through and looking for the one with the smallest Z value and checking if you're overlapping this thing and just kind of setting the Z value as we go through. So it's setting it very high and looking for a small one. So we might make that a secondary function that does this and not do stuff like this. Use the mouse coordinates here. We'll pole the mouse coordinates up front and the mouse state up front, and then just cache them for the rest of the frame. It tends to work better. But there's a lot of stuff in this function. Wow. I'm actually kind of scared by the size of that. I wasn't expecting it to be that large, given that most of the other code in the library is quite small and concise. Gadget hit, GUI gadget event input. So that must be when you like an input box. GUI gadget group. Sorry, group hit, win, null. We're pulling mouse again, so that sort of stuff. You just don't need to do it. Just read them once, never read them again. Got a pause in the middle there, which is like waiting until the mouse is released. I think so anyway, I'm not actually sure. Yeah, it pops up everywhere. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm not having a go. Just right. Title. Are we checking if this is over the title or something? We've got Rex overlap, so we need a function that does the same thing here, so we can leave the code much the way it is and go on with our life. What we don't have though is, or I don't think we have, is the concept of the current window. So when we're calling this, are we calling it against the current window? We are. GUI active window. Is that even initialized? Excuse my ignorance here. Alright, we'll just comment all the code there out. We'll leave the function as like an empty block. We'll try and get something of it to work rather than just trying to run a Hail Mary. We might do the mouse over thing first. Mouse hover and sort of work backwards. Just check that they're still compiling. Didn't break anything terribly. Isn't that nice? We didn't break anything terribly. We might render this stuff. Set cursor Y and we'll set it to 200. So we'll start rendering text from 200 pixels down the screen. So we can see the handle of the last window that was created. We should get a look at what the current window is. Now, do we even store that? So, GUI active window must be a handle to the global list of windows. I don't know for what reason it says the active window. Must be when you create something. That would make sense. I'll just do a search and we'll kind of see how it's used. So I guess we're trying to learn how this thing is implemented. Yeah, so it's a window, it's a list, or a type, but so when we open a window, we're saying the active window is the thing we just created. So the last window created will be the active window. Makes sense? That's probably a delete function. Free window, yep, sure it is. So we're checking if the current window is an active window. If it was, and we delete something, then we need to clean that out. We don't want it doing that. Win front. Alright, cool. CT window. Oh, current window. Active window. CT status. So we're setting the Z to 0, so look. Closest. Win back. Closest. Geo-active, it's our focus. Well, it's a different function actually, it's fine. Gadget GAD, the currently selected gadget, also it, can be used to make any item in a list. The currently selected item. Active window equals the current window, current gadget window. Don't know. Don't know. Check help. We are using that pretty much the way I expected. Or we are using it the way we're expected. So we're running through the gadgets, looking for a gadget with a parent window. If the parent window is of status 2, whatever that means, I have no idea. If the gadget is a tab, maybe, or GUI active window tab, the rectangles overlap, we do a comparison there. Alright, I've said enough of that. So active window is what is the current one we're interacting with. So active window, yep, string, thank you, do this. Hopefully that's an integer, so I should just be happy to print that out. It is active window, and that's correct. The last created window, which is this test window, will be the active. There's nothing else to change that state, so which is what we're about to try and do. Okie dokie. Let's start hobbling through it. Dim win as window pointer. Win equals GUI active win. We should do a check here. Actually, if that's not created, we don't want to do anything. If int win is equal to 0, then exit function. Just in case we're passing something into it that's null for some reason. Well, I don't know if that's possible or not. I have no idea. So we've got GUI events, menu, and mouse down, 1 or 2. Mouse down here. This is what I meant about collecting input from the user. Should just do it once up front and then not worry about calling these functions every time. GUI menu over, -1. gadget hit. It's all about gadgets. Group hit. Let's have a look down the bottom. Right. So I can emulate this hovering function. That's all we'll start actually. Because I'm terrified of the rest of that code, so let's just look at the last bit here. Who knows? So win, we should just have a function that does this actually. Just returns the window that you're currently over. And because win over is global, we can just check if that's a thing. Call the function, check if this is okay, and that's the one we're currently over. GUI win over. Oh, it just computes that. That's all it does there. Crazy stuff. Crazy stuff. Right. That's okay. Like we might get some behavioural differences with this. I don't think we'll get that many though. Alright, so we're going to run through the array of these windows. We're going to check if they exist first, and then if they do exist, we're going to check if our window, if our Z is lower than ZZ. This is lower than ZZ. Do something. Our status is greater than 1. Cool. Not drawing it, we're just going to do, we're going to check if the rectangles overlap, and I'll make a replacement of that function. I'll make an emulation of that function. So this equals Z. I'll leave the mouse stuff there for a second. I'm not that concerned about it really. Oh, I see. So it's using width and height as a secondary element there. So we're just checking if two rectangles overlap that happen to be. In the second case, this is a 1x1 rectangle. So you can just do point in box here in PB World. That will give us the same thing. It's a lot less messing around. But I'll use this way because I'll make the functions state. Alright, so what are our parameters going to be? Zone 1, it's x1, width 1. Yeah, okay. So we've got x1, y1, width 1, height 1. x2, y2, width 2, height 2. Point in box. Sorry, lines intersect, line intersect rectangle, rectangle, circles intersect, get intersection object, which is for collision stuff. Point intersect circle. There is a function that does that. Just drawing a blank, can't think what it's called. Yeah. So state has to be set to false if it's a subroutine. Let me just go. Why do I keep thinking that's in the math library? Was it meant to be in the math library? Is it not documented or something? There's a bunch of these things that don't make it into the documentation that you just forget about. Math, general, square root, math, angles, trigonometry stuff, collision intersection, range, clipping, rounding, boolean, log, bit manipulation stuff, expression, byte order conversions, log 10, round down. I think the most sensible one is to use pointed box, really. Normally what you do is you go, if the right hand edge of the second surface is bigger than the first surface, we keep going. So it's a possible overlap. Next overlap, so what are we doing? Jeez. I have the attention span of a gnat sometimes. Plus width, where we got? Width 1. Alright, so if the right hand box if the right hand edge of box 1 is less than width 2 and the right hand edge of box 2 is greater than x1, they must share some part of the screen on the x-axis. They may not be overlapping, but they're likely to be overlapping. So we'll do it for the y-axis as well. That should give us something that works. It's late, you know, it's just late. Y, height, y1, height, yeah, fantastic. So state is true. We might have to verify that works, but let's just do it on screen, for example. Let's dump the function back there and then we'll get back to where we were. Yeah, if we can verify it on screen, then we don't have to worry about it. We can just assume it's going to work in the real world. So we're calling Rex overlap. We're getting the pointer to this thing here that we just looked at. This is winList loop dot window. Gives us the return pointer. Something I tend to do a lot is this, winList z.z, because we're going to use this variable a bunch of times. I'll read the z from it. Now it costs ourselves nothing, but it basically means that we only read from that field once, then we just never do it again. So we're reading the z of this thing here. If it's less than the current largest z and status is bigger than 1, so whatever that means, the window is visible, exists, or whatever, it's clickable. Then we do a comparison with the rectangle with the mouse. If we are hovering over this thing, we should be on top of it. I wouldn't bet that's going to work, but you know. See if it phrases first of all. It's okay. Go back to here. Win list said thank you. GUI null. So I pull that into there. So it's all sitting beside each other. Win hover. Sorry, win over. So that should change when we are clicking on a different window. Sorry, not even clicking on a different window, when we're over that different window. So this is hover. GUI win hover. Well, it's saying we're not over anything, so maybe our function doesn't work. How dare that function not work? Isn't that terrible? Okay, let's try it out anyway. What we might do is we might just grab this in the second project and just double check our logic's actually making sense. Grab the head of it, not the function. Not what I wanted. Rex overlap, win, type, false, state. Win2 is equal, slower than that. Rex overlap. Alright. Bear with me, we'll just double check this works before I press on. I'd rather know that it's working, at least in some capacity, than go on assuming that the fault is something else and they're not really knowing it. So if we go Rex overlap, state, thank you, and we'll go from 100, from 100, 100, and we want this to be 500 across and 200 down. It's going to be mouse X, mouse Y. It's 1 by 1. Just print the state. So if we move into the zone, it should be in the middle of the screen there somewhere. I'll make those screen coordinates and then we'll just phrase it out. So I can just draw the same thing from there as a rectangle. So x1, y1, and we're going x2 minus x1 for the width, y2 minus y1. Let's draw a box, x1, y1, x2. Typing's, you think I'd be better at typing by now, but I'm not. False. Right, so it's our zone, and yeah, cool. Looks like our test is working. We don't get any false positives outside here, do we? Okay, that's good. So it just means that that function that we botched it up together is doing what it seems like it should be doing. So that's good. So that means that's not our fault. I mean, it is our fault, it's not working, but at the moment, that's doing something useful. Mouse over. So if we're over a window, when this thing's running, should get a bunch of garbage to the console, but we don't. So we're not even getting to that point. Sometimes it's nice just to have just some basic feedback about where we are executing, what we are doing. You can trace through these things, but if you don't know them, now I don't know them, that's so we'll just put abort GUI win event. One thing I've always wanted to add to PB is actually it's like a like a natural scope. So when you enter, like a messaging for each scope that you enter, you can just dump out what function is called by name, etc., what the parameters are, and stuff, straight to the console. And a million other things. Run that through there. So we never get to that. We're not even calling that. So did I not patch that in? Is that how simple this might be? Win event. GUI win event. Get event. Let's look up this get event. We're not calling it. That's kind of useless. Get event. Come on. Where's the next one? Fantastic. We didn't do any of that. So that's why we're not getting anywhere, because we're not calling it. Terrific. We're not going crazy. It's just not working because we're not calling the damn thing. Let's do it again. Alright, we're not getting our hover to work, but that's okay. Run in debug mode and see what's coming out to the console. We're getting something useful or not. Wow, there we go. So we are calling those functions and win G event, GUI event, mouse over. Win hover. Find declaration, thank you. Is it that simple? Is that just not declared as a global? Still search for it. Yeah, it's that simple. It's just not declared. Right. So WinHover is actually it's a winless pointer. And we might have to repair that at some point. Let's try and run that. There we go. So we're over the default window, or over our window, we're getting a response. That's what we should get. Bit of progress. Not much progress, but you know, some progress. I'm enjoying that, it's good. Let's jump into that function again and see how... Right, I've got the hovering function working. And what about the rest of this stuff? So the gadgets on the title bar. Active window, win gadget menu, mouse over one, gadget hit, input, mouse X, mouse Y, menu, select menu, Q menu. Wow, there was so much stuff nested in this. I'm terrified by it. Kill, change, scale, another render scene issue, refresh, draw all, drag. Okay. When we're dragging this thing, what's happening? With the mouse position, doing a back buffer render, rendering the whole screen. Why? Why are we doing that? Fill mouse down to 0. Whoa, is that taking a screenshot of the image? It is. Good. Yeah. So when you drag something in this, you're not actually running through the processing loop at all. You're taking a screenshot and then dropping into a secondary loop here and doing an actual shift. I think so. Anyway, so we're inside the GUI menu function. I don't know what that's doing. Including the back buffer, draw all. It's like redrawing the screen, which case, minimize. Okay. So the select case here is responding to what event was selected, and this is detecting the situation of the event. Which makes sense to me, because that's how I've done the same thing in the past. Right, so that wasn't a problem before. We don't need that anymore. Restore that to something nicer. Yeah, a bit nicer. Let's go, let's have a look. So this bit of code here, let's reveal it to the world and move on. GUI event, event none. Win, GUI event, menu over. What computes if you're over the menu? The GUI event equals menu and mouse button or mouse 2. We don't have a menu, so let's not worry about that. If mouse is down and gadget hit is not null, in other words, here you clicked on a gadget. Where? Oh, there's a secondary function before, wasn't there? There was a function that detects whether you're interacting with gadgets. I think there is anyway. That feels kind of familiar, but right, next window, no. Click it. Drag gradient. Okay, it's all good. Draw gads. Show image, slide value. There's so much in this. GUI again, go from here. We're pulling it a get event, which is what we're looking at. Yeah, there's a thing called gadget event, so that must be processed. We get Windows events, and then we've got a gadget event after that. Call that. I'm a bit confused why some of those things are in that section of code, but all power to you. Group of gadgets, else if menu bar, scroll, key, scale, temp image. Oh man, it's an absolute nightmare of stuff in there. If win's not null, menu bar is not null, win status is not null, and sliders, one of these. Got something happening there. GUI help. It's the win hover stuff. Let's try and go from the bottom actually. GUI help X. What are those things? Help count. It might be some sort of tooltip or something like that. Okay. Looks like it should compile as that is. There shouldn't be anything special about that. I've got a function check help, so we've got to we'll chase that down in the original code and see if we've got something. Find no. Go look for that one. We're looking through the gadgets and trying to find if we're hovering over a gadget. If we are, we show the gadget help. Makes sense, yeah. But at the moment we don't have any support really for gadgets at all. So I'm just wondering about the menus, the window stuff in general. So if I clicked on a window, can I push it forward or back? That kind of stuff. Can I just click the close button and trap whether that's going to close off the window? That's what I'm aiming for. Oh yeah, there's a whole bunch of code there to drive that. It's doing it. Yeah. I mean, the show help function is showing a message, the tooltip over the top in a particular text, I would say. So that should be portable. Find item. Let's go back to our PB port, and for here we'll just put fix me beside that for the moment. Fix me. So we've got our logic, and potentially we're detecting if we need to hovering over something. Yeah, good. Let's peel back some more code. What's the next part doing? If win is not null, if menu bar is not null, win dot menu bar, win status, GUI slider, whatever that's going to be, false, and that's false. event equals nothing, and get event is not equal to file selector. Rex overlap. Okay, so we're looking at catching something on the menu bar. Okay, so it's win menu bar Y, win menu bar here. So we're doing a detection between the on-screen, where this window is going to be on screen, and its menu bar relevant to it. That should probably work. I said probably. Alright, so here we're comparing a pointer to a constant or a literal value. Type, field is not defined. Gadget, window, T gadget, active scale here, menu bar gadget pointer. So the menu bar is a secondary part of this, which we don't actually have access to. Like, are we doing it? Are we creating this at all or not? I don't know. Just see if anything writes anything to that field. What we're setting up is nothing, so that's good. GUI win returns the window, yeah, okay. Menu bar T pointers window, okay. Find gadget. Jeez, I wonder what that's actually doing. We might just be better off to have the menu bar field as part of the window structure and not worry about having something like that. I don't think it's supported. We can have multiple menus on the one. Actually, I don't know. That's the trouble. I don't actually know. So it means that to get access to this, we've got to look at the T is a window. Right, it's passing as T as a window. Go up here. Menu bar is this. Don't allocate that, of course. M bar equals win type pointer. So we just go, if this, thank you, if the menu bar doesn't exist, so there is a menu, we can go through here and we can go all the way down to, we've got win, we've got menu bar, plus menu bar, menu bar width, menu bar So to recap, what we're doing here is that in the window structure, I've stored a pointer to this menu bar type. And the assumption being is that these were linked to each other. Because we don't need to refer to the parent once we've got a pointer to something, we just refer straight to the structure. So doing the same thing logically, but we're using direct pointers to the data. I'm not going to say it's going to work, but you know. Sorry, that should be that, shouldn't it? Mbar gadget pointer. So a gadget. Right. Okay, so I think how this works is that when it opens the window, creates a menu bar if it's needed. And this was probably a linked list. I'm going to go check this out. I'm not familiar with how this was set up originally. Where are types? GUI, window. It's menu bar.gadget. Why do we have a secondary type of that? I don't understand. So this is a gadget. We need the fields are going to be in this top structure here that we want access to. They're common fields across all gadgets. Window, next gadget, parent gadget. So it must do some linking between gadgets to get these things to work in order. So it's got a pointer to a gadget. Are we even creating the gadget when it's started? I don't know. Settings. Sorry. GUI window. This is the actual code. So if we create a menu bar, calling this function menu bar to create this thing, or attaching it to here, calling find gadget, which I assume is just searching the global gadget list for the particular window as the owner. Geez, I don't get that structure at all. So it's got the menu bar is a gadget, but it also has its own custom structure here. So it must be a way around the lack of inheritance. Just not sure why you would bother. There's probably a very good reason for that. I don't say it. Something I do in the morning and my mind's like as clear as what it normally is. So what's T? T is the window. So this is a gadget structure. Gadget structures have a width and a height in them. Gadget's pulling its width and height from position is there. It's got a title. Its height is going to be the font height. Sorry, it's going to be below the title. Okay. That font height there is the font that it likes to use. If there's no title, then it's okay. The click zone is going to be between there and there. Gadget width. Sets the width, but it doesn't set the height, does it? Like the thickness of the zone. Gadget type 23, I mean, whatever that means, I have no idea. Sets the parent window of what this gadget belongs to. Status. Tab equals tab. Gadget tab. Oh, okay, so tab must be for when we have different panels of controls. Free gadget, fine. It's interesting that this, the more I look at that, the more I'm not sure if what's a good solution to emulate that. Like we could just have all the gadgets in one. We can dynamically create for each window we have a gadget list. If these are inherited from each other, we don't need to have the same structure as what that has already. But maybe it's making it right for our own back. Maybe if we do that, we're going to cause ourselves problems in the longer term. Because I don't know the structure of the program at all. I'm just going to picking away at it, guessing. As you can see. Making pot guesses really at what we're doing. So my understanding now is that when you create a gadget, which is obviously a title bar as a gadget, and these common controls, so there's links, there's a text box, there's a text list, a cycle, whatever that is, I don't know, a number, a selector, image box, a list, all of these other things here, and a menu bar here has a pointer to this other menu type up here. Well, it's probably below that, isn't it? A GUI menu bar type. GUI image type, list M bar. So there's nothing in that. It's just an empty type for no reason. It's not doing anything. There's nothing stored in that that's necessary. That's even necessary. Let's go back to here, to this GUI window function. This is what's creating this stuff for us. So when we create this menu bar, we don't even do that. So we can't detect things on it anyway. So let's have a look at what this function is doing, if anything. Find gadget. Well, it's going to be interesting. We can't find gadgets. We don't have a global pool. When gadget start. Start gadget. Wow, that's terrifying. That's honestly terrifying. I don't know what that's meant to be trying to do. I might actually be forced to do is have a window and then have these other items here as lists, and just have a bucket, pretty much like an array. It's a global bucket. So all the gadgets live in this bucket. We just have pointers between each one because they won't be destroyed. The array will be resized and moved and as things are added and deleted, but the actual data for each gadget structure won't be destroyed, so the pointers will be safe. Wow, just wow. Go to here, calling the menu bar thing. Let's just see what we get. So gadget here is just nothing really. Sorry, it's a pointer to gadget, yeah. Pointer to the structure. When we first call the addition, there should be just nothing added to it. So I don't think that will even work. I think that that'll just crash. Let's find out. We didn't phrase anyway, so that's okay. So in the window itself, just obsessed over what that structure is meant to be. Excuse my M-bar gadget pointer. It's in the window. So pointing to a type gadget. Yeah. M-bar as gadget. Gadget pointer. So I get this from the window. That's our pointer to that. So don't think we honestly need, but we didn't die. That's good. It's good. But I wonder what that's, sorry. We're going to have to check out what this gadget stuff is doing a lot more closely than what I was hoping. Didn't know it was implemented like that. Oh, silly. Sorry. Do a search again. Menu bar. So can we scale it? Can we drag it? Minimize it? Here. Menu bar equals false. The last parameter is the menu bar. So we want a menu bar for this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 parameters. Just check that that's actually the ones. So 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So it will be turned up by default. Let's say it's silly thing. Add a true at the end. So do enable menu bar. That should kill it. Didn't kill it. I'm shocked by that actually. Terrified. Is that the right parameter? Let's just add another true at the end. Yeah, it's definitely the right number of parameters. Open win. Image, skin, okay. Draw a front, Win event, nothing. It's all good. Find the gadget, bump the ID of the gadget. We'll put some debug code in here to make sure we are calling this GUI menu bar. Sometimes you think something's running if it's not. Run debug mode, hit console, go. Alright, so we are calling the function. That's good. It's not working, but you know, small things. Integer gadget, thank you. To check that gadget's actually something that makes sense. Yeah, it makes sense. What's a shame. Bumping the ID. Right, so allocating a structure for the menu bar within that. We're adding our gadget stuff to here. We're saying window. I'm going to change that to window. I can't stand it. That's not. This win. So we're searching for this win for gadget, and we find it. It's all good. This T stuff here. This win drives me nuts. That's the window width, minus 6. Looks okay. Windows width gadget. This window mbar gadget pointer. So we are pointing at gadget. Seems to be okay. Do we kill it? Well, kind of. Yeah, there you go. This win. Oh, there it is, of course. Gadget window. This win. Remember, it's the pointer to the owner. Gadget help. So that stuff there is not really necessary. You don't need to set these as null strings if the thing is just created. We just made this gadget. I guess it might be recycled. I don't know if that's possible or not. We're not dying. Good. Quick save, go back there, we'll go to our GUI function and we'll trace through some more of this logic. Get event, thank you. Window event. That's our gadgets. Now what's meant to happen if we do enable this? I have not the slightest clue what's meant to be happening with this thing at all. So we'll print out this thing here. So just do that. Plus. Okay, we got something happening. So that's weird though, isn't it? When we're not over the menu, things are over the menu. There, so perhaps that should flush itself out, or maybe it's done elsewhere in the code. Maybe there's a reason for it. Who knows? find it. Okay. If we are in menu mode, that goes to in menu over. There's another variable there that holds something in there. I wonder if that's actually declared properly. Oh, good. So that's actually, that is declared. Menu over is a global. Good. This equals -1, but whatever turns this to -1, something does. There you go. We have an event loop there, just below where we are. Right, so that's going to be flushing that back out all the time. I think. I don't know. Let's try the next block of code. Sort of catching certain things. Group hit. I don't know what that's doing. And gadget hit. Gadget event equals that. Gadget hit. Well, it doesn't exist because we don't have any concept of that at the moment. So we'll just put that into this. Make ourselves feel better about ourselves. And remove that. Group hit. It's not going to make anything work magically, but the next block, what have we got? I don't know why it's comparing this internal window. Yeah, it's the biggest block of code in the whole thing. I can't just kind of skim through it and get rid of it. Oh well, it's late, and I might have to leave this one here. We are getting some understanding of how it works. We are getting a bit of an understanding of how we can tackle some of the problems that we're having. I don't know why that works that way. Not a clue. But for now, I might just leave that there. So thanks for watching, and we'll try and get some more done tomorrow. Bye.